9 Lives of Leo Roberts, a series of interconnected short stories written and narrated by Robert Fairhead from the Tall and True writer's website. The terrace house door creaks open, and the women sitting in the converted front room glance at the newcomers, another nervous-looking young woman in her late teens or early 20s, and an older woman, probably her mother, judging by their shared, chubby features. The two women cross to the receptionist's desk, and the older one speaks briefly in a low voice. The receptionist hands her a form, and the two walk to the far corner to claim the last spare seats. The other women in the room resume staring vacantly into space, or at the pattern on the carpeted floor, the younger ones chewing fingernails and quicks. Apart from an occasional cough or hushed conversation, the only sound breaking the silence is the slow tick-tock of a clock on the wall behind the receptionist. Rita and her Aunt Elsie had been waiting for nearly an hour. During this time, they'd seen several young women enter and exit the front door, alone or with a mother or aunt-like figure, but never with a male who could be a boyfriend, husband, or father. It was a week since Rita had confided her predicament to Elsie. "Have you told your mum and dad?" her aunt had asked. "I can't, Auntie. They'd kill me," Rita had replied, blushing at the prospect of broaching anything to do with sex with her parents. "What did your boyfriend Billy say?" Elsie had pressed her niece. "He said I should do something about it," Rita had sobbed. "And I thought you might be able to help, Auntie, because—" Rita had trailed off at the pained expression that creased her aunt's face. When Elsie was her niece's age, she found herself in the same predicament. Back then her options were limited, illegal, and risky. Although this clinic wasn't legal, through her contacts at a women's network, Elsie knew it operated with a nod and a wink to the police, and with a degree of health and safety for the women it treated. So Elsie had organised the appointment and offered to accompany her niece. "How much longer do you think we'll have to wait, Auntie?" Rita whispers. "I don't know," Elsie sighs, patting her niece's arm. "There are a lot of, patients today, and you can't rush these things." Rita nods and adds, "Thanks for coming, Auntie." Elsie smiles. She knows Rita is apprehensive about the procedure. Perhaps her niece fears, if it goes wrong, she'll become a childless spinster, like her aunt. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Elsie whispers, asking the same question she'd asked Rita countless times during the past week. "Yes, I think so, Auntie," her niece replies. "It's for the best." Rita chews her fingernails. After the initial shock of discovering she was pregnant, Rita had fantasized that Billy would marry her, and they'd get a place of their own and raise their child. But Billy hadn't shared her dreams. "I'm an apprentice mechanic," he told her. "I can't afford to pay rent on my wages, let alone feed you and a kid." "What are we going to do?" Rita had asked, her eyes filling with tears. Billy had tugged his hair and then shoved his hand into his grease-stained overalls pocket. "Look, take this," he'd said, handing Rita a small pile of crumpled banknotes. "I'll give you more when I can, and I'll stick by you," he'd promised. "Meanwhile, talk to your Aunt Elsie. She seems like a clued-up old bird. She'll know how to fix this. It's for the best." But Billy had not kept his promises. He stopped visiting Rita and didn't answer her calls. When she eventually knocked on his door, Billy's mother told her he'd gone away for work and couldn't say when he would return. A panelled door beside the receptionist's desk opens. The waiting women watch an older woman support a pale-faced young woman across the front room and through the door onto the street. "You're next, dear," the receptionist says, and Rita realises she's talking to her. Thoughts of Billy and being a mum flash through her mind, but Rita knows it's a fantasy. She feels her aunt patting her arm again. "You don't need to do this, Rita," Elsie whispers, dabbing a lace hanky at the tears rolling down her niece's cheeks. "I can help." Rita sniffs and shakes her head. "No thanks, Auntie. I've got to do this," she tells Elsie. "It's for the best." The two women stand, but remain frozen for a moment. The tick-tocking of the wall clock behind the receptionist echoes like a heartbeat. Elsie takes her niece's shoulders and turns Rita to face her. "I can help you and the child," she repeats forcefully. The other women watch Elsie wipe fresh tears from her niece's face with the lace hanky. After another moment's pause, Rita nods silently at her aunt, and the two women walk across the room to the door. Hi, I'm Robert Fairhead from Tall and True Short Reads, and the Tall and True Writers website. As I explained in the trailer introducing Season 5, the first 4 seasons of Tall and True Short Reads featured the short stories, blog posts and other writings I've shared on Tall and True. Most were standalone episodes, but I also released multi-part episodes for longer stories and posts. For Season 5, I'm doing something different. I'm writing and narrating a series of interconnected short stories titled The 9 Lives of Leo Roberts. Prologue, The Clinic, is the first episode. In the Season 5 trailer, I quoted the Gotham Writers Workshop's definition of the interconnected or linked series genre as stories that are complete in that each story can stand alone, but when put together, they interrelate and create a larger whole. My goal with Season 5 is to explore sliding doors moments. Each episode will be a standalone story set at a different time in Leo's life, but his 9 lives will interconnect to create a larger whole. As with my other writing, I will draw on elements of autofiction in the 9 lives of Leo Roberts. For example, while I don't specify a date for the clinic episode, I wrote the prologue story with a 1960s or 70s setting in mind. I was born in England in 1962, and researching the contraceptive and unplanned pregnancy options for women like Rita at that time was a sobering insight into the predicament faced by my teenage mother. Thankfully, unlike Billy, my father kept his promises. The next episode in Season 5, and the first of Leo's 9 lives, will appear in your podcast feed shortly. In the meantime, browse your feed or the podcast website, tallandtrueshortreads.com, to listen to 101 episodes from the past 4 seasons. You can read my short stories, blog posts and other writings at tallandtrue.com. You can also buy my short story and microfiction collections, including my latest collection, One Day in the Life of Alex's AI and Other Speculative Fiction, from the Amazon Kindle, Apple Books and Kobo online bookstores. You'll find links in the show notes. Please follow or subscribe to Tall and True Short Reads and rate and review it via your favourite podcasting app. Doing so helps me share my storytelling with other listeners. You can financially support the podcast and my Season 5 stories by making a small one-off or regular donation through the Acast supporter page. Again, the link is in the show notes. Finally, please share this episode with family and friends and spread the word about Tall and True Short Reads and the Tall and True Writers website.